So, following on Edward's report of President Biden in NATO in Brussels, please recall that last night I asked whether the Biden administration really wants Ukraine to win the war. And frankly, after today's Biden presser, I think the answer is no. I think the president and his minions would be happy with a standoff, a stalemate, willing to concede a lot of turf to Vladimir Putin. Now, look, at humanitarian assistance is always good. Permitting Ukrainian refugees to the U.S. is okay, but those things really just make the stalemate easier. They don't get to the main point, which should be we win, they lose. I think Senator Cruz the other day correctly called Biden's approach a managed decline. And by that, I believe he meant a managed U.S. decline in world leadership and power. And to that point, I will say that idea of a managed decline in American power is something that should be devoutly opposed, which I know Ted Cruz agrees with me. Biden was on the world stage earlier today and bungled what could have been and should have been a great opportunity to provide American leadership. He failed. He did not call for a Ukrainian victory. He did call Putin a brute, but he should have just called him a war criminal. I don't know what brute means. I know what war criminal means. We all know what crimes against humanity mean and why Putin should be brought to The Hague regardless of the outcome of this war. I didn't hear any reference to tougher energy sanctions on Russia, like Senator Toomey's call for secondary banking sanctions or Holman Jenkins's call to put all cash in a special escrow bank account, thus stopping financing of Putin's war machine. It does look like Senator Haggerty, who'll be on the show a bit later on, and his bipartisan group will succeed in getting secondary sanctions on Russian gold sales, but that's a congressional proposal that Biden did not mention at his NATO press conference today. I didn't hear Biden endorse the transfer of Soviet MiG fighter jets from Poland to Ukraine. And frankly, I don't care about sanctioning a bunch of Russian politicians in their parliament. That has no bearing on Ukrainian fighting. And oddly, Biden mentioned, and I'm going to quote this in answer to a question, the most significant sanctions, economic sanctions regime ever, in order to cripple Putin's economy and punish him for his actions. But then later in the presser, he repeats this goofy point that sanctions were never meant for deterrence. Huh? Either they're going to deter or they're not going to deter. Mr. President, make up your mind. Speaking of sanctions, didn't we sanction Vladimir Putin? Didn't Europe sanction Vladimir Putin? So, if NATO was totally unanimous about sanctioning Putin, why haven't we seized Putin's boat, which is sitting offshore in Italy, badly furnished and all? It's nothing but a big toy, but it's Putin's big toy. And if we took away his big dinghy, it would be a great worldwide embarrassment. Not only is Putin a war criminal, but he's a corrupt oligarch as well. Haul off his trophy to the Brooklyn Navy Yard, strip it down, sell the metal and maybe the electronic component parts as well. Do something to Putin for a change. Anyway, I'm still not hearing any echoes of Ronald Reagan's "we win, they lose," or "evil empire," or "tear down this wall." That stuff would send an American first message. Do you want to win, Mr. Biden, or not? That's an important question.